Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Paranormal True Crimes. How's everybody's week going along? Hello, Crazy Witch, Tess, Yolanda, Tess H. So I got a message right before the show from Tammy. Yes. Give me a heads up. Thank you, Tammy. So we're going to talk about Beaufort. 49-year-old Beaufort man, Clifford Lamont Jenkins from South Carolina. Very interesting case. So new information came out today, ladies and gentlemen, today. Usually I do check before the show. I'm not going to lie. I was eating when I got the news update, thanks to a viewer that is always watching. So yes. Hey, Kimmy. Welcome everybody to the show. Hey, hey. So the case took a turn. So the people that are not aware about Beaufort. Hey, Russ. Welcome to the show. How you doing? So Russ, so you can actually you can actually, I don't know. I'll throw up some links here in a minute. The stars on Facebook are not working right, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll throw up some links during the show on how you can support me. If you're on YouTube, you can do YouTube thank me or thank you. So I greatly appreciate any and all $1, $2. Hey guys, that really helps, goes towards the shows and stuff that I do. So yeah. Tammy Johnson, I hope your ears were ringing. Welcome to the show. I was just talking about you. So I'll throw up some links for you, ladies and gentlemen. But let me see if I can share my screen here. And let me make sure I share the right screen. So Clifford, let's make sure I bring up the right one. Let's see here. Now I'm using a couple of different screens here. So Clifford, July 17th. Did it pop up? There we go. Police are still searching for 49-year-old Beaufort man Clifford Lamont Jenkins. Was reported missing by family members on July 17th of this year's, ladies and gentlemen, this year. The man was last seen driving a dark blue 2017 Chevrolet Cruze with South Carolina registration 232776 Wilson, that's W, near Big Road in Grace Hill area around July 14th, according to Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. At the time, his car has not been found. Jenkins is reported to be 5'8" and about 220 pounds. Now, his family told police he's never gone missing before, and his sudden disappearance in mid-July, he told his mother he was heading out of the house before leaving in his blue Chevrolet. So the county deputies received an unconfirmed sighting of the man at an in-market gas station on a parkway. But they could not confirm that. So I don't know if it was surveillance video or somebody was, say, hey, I think they saw him. But they could not confirm that. And that was by the sheriff's office spokesman, Major Angela Veens, told the newspaper packet, Island Packet, Beaufort Gazette. Veens could not specify which direction Jenkins might have been traveling or certain places the man frequents within the county. They didn't know where he went or anything. And investigators not had enough information to determine whether foul play was involved in his disappearance, she said. So when we covered the case, it was strange because They were asking if you had any information to please contact the Beaufort County Dispatch at 843-524-2777. And I gave out that information, if you remember. And ladies and gentlemen, here's a picture of Mr. Mr. Lamont, missing person. But what was strange is just one newspaper article, no news media coverage, television at all. I guess because the car was missing. So maybe they thought, maybe he went on a vacation. Who knows what people think, right? Because on the last show, I said, if you're going to go take a hike, tell somebody so people don't waste resources. We're not going to go down that road again. We done had that lecture and we already had that spiel. So Tammy Johnson, yes, reached out to me while I was eating. She was like, hey, are you doing a case on this gentleman? I'm like, yeah, I sure am. She's like, look at this. I was like, well, I'll be. And this was dated today. So let me share Exhibit B, because this is Exhibit A. So let me close this one out. And let me share my other screen. Let me make sure I bring up the right one. Let's see here. I got so many browsers open. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Now, let me go back here. Present. Share screen. And let's look at, let me get the comment off the screen before I share. That way you can see the full thing. Then I'll go back and we'll hit the comments as we bring people on. Present. And thank again, Tammy Johnson. Yes, I see you. Says you're welcome. Thank you. Because usually I always do check before the show just to make sure that nothing else comes available. Because you never know, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, how many times have I researched a case and next thing you know they're being pulled over and they're like, you're supposed to be missing or you're supposed to be dead, right? So did that share the screen? No, it did not. So let me hit this button and share. And let me blow this up a little bit. All right. So this is the date. This is dated today. This is dated today, July 11th. And I think this is reported at 11 something or 1:30 something today. They said the remains found in a burn car identified as missing man since July. So evidently, the remains found in a burned car on Saturday off Ramsey Road in Burton have been identified as 49-year-old Clifford Lamont Jenkins, says the county sheriff's office. The forensic service laboratory confirmed by the way of DNA match from Jenkins' belongings that deputies says the cause of death of Jenkins has been labeled as a homicide. Jenkins was reported missing on July 17th, last seen leaving Grays Hill's home on July 14th, driving his Chevrolet Cruze. Investigators cannot yet confirm Jenkins' vehicle was found as a Chevrolet because of the major fire damage. The car does have a Chevrolet body style and a bow tie emblem, the Chevrolet emblem. So the detectives do believe it's the same car that Jenkins was last seen in. Excuse me. Anyone have any additional details about Clifford Jenkins' death? Should contact Sergeant J. Snyder at 843-255-3421 or Corporal L. Harris at 843-255-3436. Or if you wish to remain anonymous for a possible reward, contact the Crime Stoppers at Low County at 843-554-1111. So they found his body and they did a DNA match. So I'm assuming they did touch DNA of some sort, right? To identify. that his remains was the one in the car that was badly burned. So now, what happened? So he left, and they just found his car on Saturday off Ramsey Road. Now, I didn't have a chance to map that out, see how far that was from his house, from his Gray Hills home road on July 14th, just to see the distance. So, but this information just came out today. I think the newspaper article that was at 1:31 or 1:13. It was one of them between 1 and 2 o'clock today. They released this information, and this is provided by WTGS Savannah. There we go. Make sure to give them credit. So, story about Peter Strata. Give him credit for that. So, yeah. So, what actually happened, ladies and gentlemen? But the lack of media attention again. You know, I scoured through a lot of news articles, and I could not find any news coverage besides digital. You know, I mean, now I live out in the country, and we got like 3 or 4 news stations around here. And when they find something like that, a car on fire with especially a body in it, man, I mean, we make the 5 o'clock a.m. news, you make the 5:30 a.m. news, you make the 6 a.m. news, you make the 7 o'clock a.m. news, the 8 o'clock a.m. news, you make the 10:30, the 10 o'clock a.m. I mean, you make it all the way 24 hours, almost the next couple of days. So it's just kind of strange. Now, another thing was awful strange. Hey, Gary and Liana, welcome to the show, everybody. Trying to talk and click at the same time. I can chew gum too, I promise, and pat my head and rub the belly. But hey, Aussie. But what was strange is that there's not a lot of information on Clifford Lamont either. So I don't know, does that mean something or not? So I don't know. So first up in line, we have Kat. Let's welcome Kat to the show. Kat, how are you doing there? Welcome, welcome.
Morning, everybody. Evening.
Good
How
evening.
are we
Let
all?
me take care of one of me and bring you up to eye level. How are you doing there?
I'm all right, thanks. Bit
So,
fresh over here.
yeah. So you are from Australia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kath. I douse. I do lots of things. I do Reiki and healing and lots of cold cases. I like doing that. A bit of everything, really, but a lot of nothing.
Right.
But I do like to douse and I do like to remote view.
So what did you come up with?
Well, with this, I have this man is in America. He's has passed over. On this, I did this on Wednesday via a photo. I've got. Pretty sure he has run away in the past and hidden. He doesn't appear to be mentally well. He seems to be lost physically and mentally. I've got 2 parts to this. So the first section, he walked freely to where his destination was. I've got the media's not presently involved. The family is assisting. I've got he was missing for about 1 to 2 months, but missing in another sense for around 3 years. He may have had another identity. For some reason, I have him missing in another sense for 3 years. male, 40 to 50. All his ID we've got because I had the photo. I've got how at the time of his, sorry everybody for being businesslike. I'm sorry for everyone's losses here, and this is hypothetical. I've got at the time of his passing, there was a hands and a belt involved. There were two men there. They didn't partake in his death, but they witnessed what went down. They didn't report the death. They left him there for the time being. He was in a residence at the time of death. He was not in a car at the time of death. Did he know the owner of the residence? No, it was a business location. He'd never been there before. It was an accident. There was suffocation involved. He appeared to be a paid person. He has some mates that are related to gangs, but this didn't have anything to do with a gang. That's just other connections. Sorry. Why was he a target? Because of his job. It was what he was doing at the time, but it was an accident. Sorry. I have no movement from the first. Like, he wasn't picked up. He appeared to have walked for the first part of the destination and then caught a bus to a unit block, which was about 5 stories high from what I can see here. That was 10 to 20 k's from his residence where he lives. Then I've had double movement, so that he was moved from the scene of the death to another location. He was moved by a car. There were 2 blokes involved to help move him. And on this second part of the location move, it was 10 to 15 miles from the crime scene. The same 2 men were involved that saw what happened. He had already passed when he was moved from the first location to the next. I've got he's now underground, or he was underground, with a building on top. It was a residential kind of derelict building. No one lived there. No one else knows these 2 men. They're not obvious 2 men. Well, as far as gangs and all that sort of stuff goes, they're not his friends, just acquaintances. Okay. Sorry. I've got below ground the location, concrete, but I've got it appears he's already been identified and buried, which is very odd to me. It seems like he was moved, like, there's something dirty about this, I'm sorry. Was he identified by his 2 witnesses? Yes. One of the males I have as a witness is an official. I've got the land was residential. Regarding the opportunity, they're work associates. He'd been to this location once before. There's a bit of money involved, not much. He felt threatened and he had to do what he was doing. He wasn't well mentally. And then I've got the vehicle. I've got, was he known to the law? Yes. Had he served time? No. On parole? No. Escaped prisoner? No. As far as the vehicle, for the second part of the movement, I've got the vehicle as being a car, medium wheelbase, all-wheel drive, land-based, black. Distinguishing marks. Sorry about this one. It has bullet holes, paint damage, panel damage. It resembles a car of authority. It's got blacked out windows. It appears to be owned by the government. All of this seemed to be unplanned. He was sad at the time, the brown-eyed man. They seem to be in full control. The others are regretful. They seem sad as well. So, in summary, I've got he left his place of residence on foot and bus to a unit location 10 to 20 k's east. I've got approximately a 5-story high residential that was occupied, like people lived there. There he met 2 men. He's not happy about the type of work, but he had no choice. It appears he was employed. The 2 witnesses watched and partook until an accident occurred. The 2 men did not report the incident or act immediately. They returned and moved the body to a new location, sorry for being blunt, 10 to 15 miles from the crime scene, north to northeast. I've got him below ground, concrete, derelict building above him. 2 witnesses returned for pickup and drop-off. They used a black medium wheelbase, all-wheel drive, land-based vehicle with distinguishing marks of blah, blah, paint damage, panel damage. The vehicle resembled one of authority, blacked out windows. There's an accident. 1 person is employed with the powwows. The vehicle owned by the government. The witnesses were sad at the time, stable, but in full control. They had full control over what they were going to do after they took off and then came back. They're regretful, but they don't want anyone to know what went down in that room, in that residence on the 5th floor. He seemed to have lost his identity 3 years ago. He was fearful. He was threatened to do the job and had mental health issues. He was in a position he didn't wish for and was pretty sad about it, but couldn't really get out, is what I feel. There doesn't seem to be any data manipulation yet. This was on Wednesday. There appears to be staging already in plan. Some footage needs further verification, I've got.
So there's something I'll release at the end. So there's something that I did not say on this show, but I did on the last show. So hang tight, Kat. And
Okay.
and you'll see what I'm talking about. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Invo, come on down. Welcome to the show. First time. Hello.
Thank you. And hi, everybody that I already met a few days ago. Thank you, Chris, for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so flattered. So anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Inbal. I'm a UK-based psychic. Very important, UK-based, not in fact British. I am Israeli. It's a very important distinction within my identity. And I'm generally a tarot person. I like connecting with people and seeing how I can help them move forward in their lives. I also never say no to an opportunity. And so even though I'm not exactly a ghost person, whenever I'm invited on like a ghost hunt or anything, I'm there. I'm there with my boots on.
Right.
So I had the photo from you, and then I didn't sort of log on earlier so that I don't have any details, because I thought it's probably best to start with a fully clean slate. And in fact, I didn't tune into the photo before right now, because I think if I write down everything that I pick up, sometimes the messages come in really specific words, and then I'll write them down in like better language, you know, in like more appropriate English, but that might lose some of the nuances of the message. So I thought, why not just do it live?
There you go.
Hi, Yolanda. Hi, Crazy Witch. So I've got the photo on a different browser. Can you still see me if I click through to look at the photo while I'm talking to you?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Great. So I can't see you at the moment, but I can see the face. And the way I'm going to lay out my tarot cards are in the run-up to the incident or whatever we're looking at, during the incident, and following. And I did say I didn't tune in beforehand, but earlier I was running and I was thinking of the photo, and you know, the messages come as they come. and I was feeling pain around the stomach. And I think that has to do with what he experienced at the time of his passing, because just now laying out the cards, even though they're not like tummy ache cards, there's still something there that I feel as if there's a stab wound around the stomach or a poisoning. I feel like there's something going on that at the moment of his passing, he would have felt winded, as if all the wind had emptied from him. So I'll get to that in a second. Very, very interestingly, leading up to the incident, I have to really, really agree with Kath. I heard her full analysis, and I agree that he was not mentally in a good place at all. I feel like he had felt that life was already over for him. So maybe he was on the run, or maybe he was being chased for a crime. He felt like his options were either a lifetime of incarceration or death. And it's very hard to choose which one is less harrowing. And it also shows that in the run up to the incident, he was trying to keep himself kind of in a routine. So there may be um, details of the final 3 days before his passing, that that his daily routine would have been a bit quirky or a bit unsuitable for where he was. And that would be if he had traveled across timelines. So if he's traveled across states and kept his routine in a way that didn't suit the new times. What I've also got is that he used to be a strong person, so he may have had athletic ability, or he may have had provable strength. Maybe he worked in a job that required weight bearing. So it shows him coming up to his time of death as a person who used to be strong, used to be kind of established, but lost it all, and felt like he had nothing left to lose. For the death itself, what I've got is first of all, again, I've got a knife. So before I was saying maybe like a stab wound around the stomach or something like that, but it could be a knife, regardless. It's showing a knife. It's showing some conversation and communication. So it's not like a jump scare. It's not something that came out of the blue. There was some kind of a conversation leading up to it. I think it's really weird that I say it, but I feel as if he was relieved that death was coming. And I'm so sorry to say that if anyone related to him is watching, but I feel like the state that he was at that time, that wasn't the worst case scenario for him. I'm so sorry, but I feel as if to him that was a potential release. It also shows me a high pole, like a high tree. So I don't know if that was somewhere to rest behind, or if that was, heaven forbid, a hanging. And what I've got following the time of death is a lot of conversations, a lot of communications, a lot of letters, a lot of correspondence back and forth. So I don't know if there was a need to obtain paperwork that that the authorities needed in order to release his remains, or if he needed to, again, like I said, sort of maybe cross state lines. It looks like there weren't many people left behind to mourn him, to say goodbye to him. But it looks like what remained from him is more of a paper trail, more of letters and communications and stamps and official official, not notices, what's the word I'm looking for, forms, official forms that needed filling. And also I see some formalities around a church. So maybe that was like a burial. Now I'm trying to kind of put two and two together to see if I can take all of those tiny little bits of the jigsaw to make a big piece.
Right.
And I'm thinking, was this, because I'll tell you what I'm putting together, and it might be that I'm putting two and two together and coming up with 22. But because it looks like he felt like he already lost it all, like the time of death was a release for him, and that a lot of communication was needed around his burial or around the church, could it be a suicide situation? Do you understand why I think that? Because I think, I know in Jewish, burials around suicides are very, very complicated. So I think a lot of things are probably the same. So I don't know if there was a suicide or if he wanted to no longer be alive. Again, sort of trying to put two and two together. If he felt like he had lost it all and was kind of running away from potentially a lifetime of incarceration, could it be that he had caused accidental death in his past, or if he was being chased for a crime that he didn't commit? So I don't know. I feel like I've got sort of more question marks than exclamation marks.
Right.
But these are all the little bits and bobs that I've got around him. So that's my
Yeah, well,
offering.
that actually, and I want to say so bad, and I'll say it at the end, but once I say this one thing that I said on the last show, everybody's going to be like, that
Ah,
makes sense. So yes, but thank you so much, and I'll put you
thank you.
backstage if you want to stick around because I know it's late. But if you want to hear what I got to say, you can replay it or stick around, right?
I am absolutely
Because
bursting with curiosity. I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, because once I say this, you're gonna be like, that makes sense. So yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you so
Stay tuned.
much.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we've got hello there, stranger.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, Martin. How are
Nice
you doing?
to meet you. I'm good. This was my first time. I just got to meet Grizzly the other night on Tuesday. So looking forward to trying my hand at doing this today. Um, the first thing I get was I don't know if he was desperate for money and involved with some not so great people. Not sure if there was some drug um, selling or some of that kind of going on, but I don't feel that the money exchange was effective, and the people that did kill him, um, they just don't take kindly to that. So I feel there was a lot of problems. He has emotional problems. He was desperately in a state of anxiety to such a degree that he kind of knew he was in a bad way. So I don't know if he got the money for the deal and then he blew it or spent it on something else and didn't give it to the people that they owed. I feel they gave him a little bit of time to kind of work with it, but ultimately, I just don't think he had it at the end of the day. And these are not people that you cross or you put in any position that's an uncomfortable dynamic. And I also feel they're pretty high up in the chain, so I don't know that they're going to find out a whole lot about who was totally involved with this, because basically, um, the people that did kill him or take care of him were basically the middle people and not really the top people. But I also feel he knew what he was doing. He just didn't think he would get caught or it would get this bad. And I feel so much anxiety with him. And I just feel his life was kind of a mess for a while. And he had a lot of secrets and didn't tell a lot of people a lot of things. And so it's kind of like he wants to apologize to his family, because I just feel it's not really the way he would have wanted it to be known. But I just feel so many secrets that he couldn't tell too many people, because if he did, he was dead, and if he didn't, he was dead. So he
Right.
kind of he kind of created his own life, ending in so many different formats. And it really started out with this desperateness for financial situation, or thinking he was going to make some money and, get out of where he was stuck. So, but
Wow. Okay.
that's everything I
Yeah.
got.
Yeah. Now, once again, like I told Invol, once I say what I'm gonna say, after I get done with a few more, you're all gonna be like, "That makes sense.
Uh-huh.
It adds up." Because I want to say it so bad, because everybody's hitting on something, and you know how you want to say it, but you can't say it because you still got a few more people to go through. So yeah, so hang tight. Thank you so much, and I'll be right back with you. Okay. Next up, we got Lala. Lala, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I muted myself. Sorry. Hi.
That's okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
All
So
right.
this was weird. I was very back and forth with my feelings on this psychically, I guess. First of all, I got really angry. I felt like I had an attitude. So I feel like he kind of felt above the law. I feel like he's been in trouble with the law before. Um I feel he angered a group of people. I feel he's from somewhere in the South or below Maryland,
Right.
Um, and then the word Machiavelli showed up, and I Googled it, and it means, I believe it means faking death. So maybe he wanted to try that. Maybe it didn't work. I know my whole body got really my legs got really hot and tingly, and it went to my fingers. I didn't know what was going on, and it was really uncomfortable, and I didn't understand what that was, but it scared me. So maybe he was trying to get away with something and it backfired somehow. um I just feel like he dabbled in things that he shouldn't have, and it backfired. And I don't exactly, he there's part of me that feels he's still alive, and part of me feels that he's dead. I've never really experienced that before, so I don't know what that means exactly. It was weird. Sorry.
Yeah. So I know sometimes when psychics or mediums get that feeling, from my experience dealing with a lot of them, it's like the person doesn't really know that they are or do not. They're kind of confused, but
Right.
that's just something to toss out there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's what
But
I got. It was confusing.
yeah, it is. And once I explain, like I said, what I want to say so bad, but I have to wait because I still got a few more coming. And once I say what I'm going to say, you're all going to be like, "Oh, you got to be really," because I mentioned it on the first show
Okay.
when I was covering a case, and I was like, take that with a grain of salt, because, and I'm going to stop because I'm going to say it, but hang tight, and I'm going to go to Craig. Thank you,
Thank
Lala.
you.
I
Yep.
appreciate it. All
Thank you.
right, stand by. All right, Craig. Come on
Hey,
in, sir. Welcome to the show. How are you
how
doing?
are you? So, then, this, I hate to say it, but one, he had a brutal upbringing, um, mentally unstable, uh, but there was also suicidal, but there are two people there. He was also really mean, I believe. I think he kind of made his bed. Yeah, I think, I'm not going to say a deal gone wrong, but definitely a dispute took place. How he died, I do feel stomach area. I keep getting, he got what was coming. He made his bed. He made those choices. And I don't think he was really kind about those choices he made. Yeah, that's really what I got here. You know, I think there was involvement with police prior. I think if not done time, he got off on it, but he should have done time. I live in Canada, so everything is south to me. So it is
Right,
south.
right.
I almost want to say immigrant, like he came from somewhere else young, but saw way more than he should have ever had as a child. But I might be off on that. Again, this is just what I've picked up. But I do get mental illness. I do get suicidal. I do get a confrontation. I get maybe law enforcement don't necessarily care that issue's dealt with. They wouldn't want to. They have more to gain by not doing anything than they do doing something about it.
Right.
And I, of course, feel sorry for the families and what they're going through. But I think he's also happy that it was over. The anxiety, the secrets, everything. It's almost double life. So yeah, that's what I picked up, and it would be interesting to hear what the other side.
Yeah, I want to put everything's going to come together at the end. So, and I want to tell you exactly what I thought when I first took the case on. So stand by. Thank you, sir. And Angela, come on. All right, Angela, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do and how you do things.
Angela Bowling. I am a psychic portrait artist. I see spirits and I paint portraits and also the images that they send to me. I hear and see spirits. And basically I do paranormal investigations. There's quite a few different things that I do. I do a lot of energy work, that means for remote viewing. There's quite a bit of stuff I do psychically. So with this one, now the first impression I got, I was like there was some complexity with this, that there were at least 3 men involved. And I don't normally resort to an S box, but I was on another show, and this person, who I believe is our victim, came through and was talking to me. He mentioned the name.
Wow.
He mentioned the name Dwight involved in this. He also gave me Dwight's surname, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that here.
Yeah.
He said Bigsby.
Hmm.
He gave 2 names. He also said there was a third man. So what I was saying to him, what I was seeing, I kept seeing that he was at a gas station, and there were 3 men in a car. 2 of them he recognized, and it was an Audi that pulled up. The 2 in the front he recognized. The one in the back he didn't recognize. Was a white man he did not recognize. I also kept being shown a woman involved in this some way, and I kept seeing a ring, a very small ring, like an engagement ring or just a ring that she carried around that is some memento of hers, that she was somehow involved with these men, and she was like this go-between, this communication between these men and him. And I kept getting a lot of paranoia with him. Like paranoia, like I'm constantly on the run for these people. I'm constantly being chased. I'm constantly trying to hide things. And then I went an unusual route because I don't usually do runes. I do rune readings, but I usually haven't done a rune reading for something like this. Just because I seen there was 3 men involved. Third one he didn't recognize. And he said some crazy white guy in the back of the car is what he said when he came through a spirit box. There was some crazy white guy in the car. I don't know who he is in the back, sitting in the back of the Audi. And I get the sense that this was some sort of leader involved with him. And he kept saying conference, but I kept getting a sense of a conference of this was something that was planned, that there was something that he was a part of. I kept seeing money involved, that there was money being exchanged, and it had something to do with retribution and how he handled those funds. And so when I went ahead and tried a rune ring just to see what I would get. So the first one I got was Isa. So Isa is the rune of ice, but it also can mean paralyzing, being stuck. So I felt like he was stuck in a position and he could not get out of it. Like, I'm in this tight spot. There's no way out. Whatever the ending's going to be, it's not going to be a good one, whatever it is, because of these men that are involved, and this woman in particular. This woman who I feel like was being deceitful. She would act nice to him, but was acting kind of like an informant in a way, and also a way to manipulate him. So he was not, and I kept getting the word exploitation. He was exploited. So there was something in his past that was being exploited and being used by this group. And the female was key to this, and she was key to the manipulation, to the exploitation. And I keep seeing this little ring with her, like she was like the main manipulator. And I kept seeing, so Feyu was the next rune I saw, and that's money. That's mobile wealth. That's money and transactions. And then I see Helgelas. So Helgelas is the rune of destruction. It is the hailstone. It's out of season. It's out of time. So when I put this up, I kept seeing like everything. He had these plans. He had complex plans how he might get out of the situation. But every time it would fall apart. Something would fall through. Something would not work. And all of his plans just collapsed. Like, he'd try one thing and it would not work. He'd try something else. It wouldn't work. He kept getting cut off. There was no way out. The other one I picked up, because I was led to pick up 2 more. So strength, Urus, the rune of strength. I got that at one time he may have been a strong person and had some inner strength, but at this point he was so paranoid, defeated. I just get a sense of fear, like he had the potential to escape. He had the potential to use that strength to escape, but he just didn't. And I felt something about his death. So what I felt with his death, I felt like I can't breathe, but it feels low in my body. And then I picked like almost like my diaphragm is being like I can't take a breath. Either I'm cut there and I can't take a breath, or I'm squeezed there in such a way that I cannot take a breath. But what I brought, the very last rune I asked about is death, and this is Thorasos. So Thorasos would be like a sharp pain, sharp knife, symbolism here, that this usually represents the thorn. But I'm getting it really low. I'm just feeling pain like really low down my middle, and I can't breathe. I just get a sense that wherever he was injured, it was low, and he was cut off from being able to breathe. Not in the neck, but low on the body, near where you would use to breathe.
Right.
That's all I'm getting. And when I said, there's family that want closure for you, and he said, I'm sorry. That's what
Wow.
he said. He had his voice come through very clearly. He said, I'm sorry. And again, he kept giving me images. So at the time that he was talking through the spirit box, he was showing me these images, particularly this female, that was kind of used, I want to say almost like bait in a way, to kind of draw him into this. And I don't think that, I mean, she is connected. She knows what she's doing, and she knows she's a part of this. But I think when law enforcement zeroes in, they're not going to zero in on her. They're going to zero in on the males and exclude her. But she is a big part of this female. I keep seeing a blonde lady involved in this.
Okay. Interesting. Somebody asked for me to show the picture, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I threw the picture back up there. That's Clifford Lamont right there. So that is the person we're actually doing the readings and talking about right now. So yes. So that is him. Okay. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. We have Kelly Joe coming on. Kelly, welcome to the show there. Come on down. How are you doing, Kelly?
Good. How are you doing? Before
Wonderful.
you ever sent the picture, a huge man of color came walking down my hallway, and he was like 6'5", huge, and he had bald head except for a little patch of hair here, and on the side he had a triple X with a razor. You know how they cut hair with the razor?
Yes.
3 X's on top of each other. Then I hear snitches get stitches. And they said he tried to keep the money, but we got him. Then another guy shows up. He was all in tattoos. I think he was a white guy. He had a mohawk, yellow and orange tip, and he had diamonds all over his neck and 3 script yolks underneath his collarbone of Spanish writing, and then tattoos all over his face. They had like 3 teardrops here. And then there was another guy of color, and he had a grill, and he had those brass knuckles.
Yeah.
And they stabbed him, and they beat him up and with the brass knuckles. So he was stabbed all over. And he tried to keep and then the lady is the head cartel lady with these guys. So it's like a giant drug ring, well-established old ring that covers all over. So he was trying to keep the money, and he got caught. And that's why they killed him. Snitches get stitches.
Okay. So we have another psychic that reached out to me today, and she was having a lot of problems because she was saying, and I'm not going to get graphic, she was saying she kept seeing him get bodily harm and injured. And she was describing what you were telling me. And she's like, that's the only thing I'm seeing. She says, and I'm not seeing before or after. I'm just seeing what is happening to him.
Right.
And she says, Grizzly, usually I see what leads up to it and what happens after, but I'm just seeing what is being done to him. And that's it. And it's just constantly replaying. So that gives her, if she's watching, it gives you validation. Because, and I told her, I'm like, well, you know, if that's what you're seeing, then that's what I would report. She's like, but I want to give more. I don't want to. I was like, well, that's what you're seeing. Then that's what I would say. And, but once again, that's validation because that is what she saw. So that makes a lot of sense. So now
it was the Grizzly death, because he was like, he was stabbed like the other lady said, lower abdomen all over, and then the pounding all over his face and head and bludgeon, just totally. He was a bloody mess.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. So I'm going to bring everybody back on. Kat, Martin, La, and Inball. And let's see here. There we go. Angela and Craig. So one of the things that we talked about during the first show is they reported on the newspaper article, somebody commented, because on digital, when they report on an article, you can comment down at the bottom, leave comments, right? And somebody reported, now I just saw him last week at a casino. He was gambling. So, and I was like, ladies and gentlemen, if you see that comment, take with a grain of salt, because, it could be mistaken identity, right?
Right.
But,
absolutely.
The way I look at it, when I first looked at the case, before I even took it on, I presume that he did something wrong. And he was like, I have nothing to lose. And he went to told his family, I'm out of here. I'll be back. And he knew he wasn't going to come back. And he took the money that he allegedly had, whatever maybe did take, right? Allegedly, whatever. And probably see if he can recover some or some of it or whatnot, if that was him at the casino.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody said that they saw him at the casino. So does that validate with any of you all now? Does that resonate with any of you all now when it comes to financial and
Theyu, the rune of money. That's the rune of mobile wealth. That's you carrying out, and you could because basically the runes are the base of the Viking system of the alphabet. But particularly for mobile wealth for them, it was wealth that you carried around. You'd had in silver runes, and you would just cut off a piece of silver if you didn't have coins with you, and you could gamble. You could gamble a lot. So that makes total sense with the mobile wealth and with Theyu coming up with money, like putting money down on the table. I'm putting this out there.
But if he had nothing to lose, then why not go to the casino and be like, hey,
go all out.
Yes.
I don't think he was mentally calm enough to make those sort of decisions. He seemed to be fight and flight, just getting on with whatever he could with whatever he had at the time. He seemed to be super fight and flight.
Yeah, but there was something that was in his past that, to me, caught up to him, and and I feel sorry for his family and his friends, because when family and friends and people reach out to me to take on cases, and I always tell them, if there are any skeletons in the closets or any secrets, now is the time I need to know if we're going to do the case. And they're like, why? I said, it's going to come out, and I'd rather know now before we do a show, because, whatever they say on the panel is going to come out, and I don't stop them. So, and it is what it is. So, but it was weird that they found the body Saturday, or was it Saturday? I think the newspaper said, yeah, I think it was, right. I think it's what I read, because they released it today.
Do you think that was him in the car?
Yes, they did a DNA test.
And what, they tested it from his clothing or his actual body?
Yeah, so I'm alleging they did touch DNA. So swab DNA or something, yes.
Did they say cause of death?
No, they did not, but they did rule it as a homicide. So, but they're not releasing the information at this point. So,
has he ever been in trouble before with the law?
That where I was said in the beginning of the show for everybody to come on, all of his information was very stringent. It was not out there like my other cases where you can go out there and I pull up all kinds of information, arrest records. It was very like sealed. So well, I shouldn't say sealed. It was it was just non-existent is what I should say. You know, usually you go out there and you can say Bob Smith or John Doe has been arrested 37 times, 4 DUIs, and I mean, it's just out there. But the lack of media coverage, I mean, I live, not a very big county, right? Not a very big town. I guess, well, define big, I guess, but something like this would make the news for days.
Yeah.
And, especially finding a body in a burnt vehicle. But it was just a newspaper article, and then when he went missing, they was just like, a 49-year-old Beaufort man from South Carolina went missing, and the family don't know where he went to, and that was it. If you have any information, call the sheriff's department. So, and it's just like, so it didn't make any, it's just the lack of information wasn't there. So, So
maybe he had a new identity.
And that's one thing that I will not be able to know until we get more information of whatever the police department or the sheriff's office wants to release. Maybe he was not an American citizen, and maybe he became an American citizen, and maybe that's where you're getting your information. So, I don't know. So,
also, do you think it was post-mortem where all his injuries were post-mortem? Like he passed over a certain way and then was...
No, because the other psychic said the same thing with Kelly and a couple of you all as well, too. So, no.
I think going after some bigger fish. I think they know what he's involved in, and I don't think they want anybody to know about it until it's time.
Yeah.
I hope they can see their investigation on the female, and actually, because this woman seems to be really.
Well, it's a big syndicate of drugs.
Yeah.
But I wanted to.
The whole group goes down.
Yeah, well, you know how it is, and sometimes it takes a while. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming on the show. Thank you very much, and probably in 2 or 3 weeks we'll have another case, and I'll keep y'all posted. So y'all have a good night, and thank you all, and Godspeed, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Bye,
good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's a grizzly.
Should we get out of here?
No. We're gonna watch and listen.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, shit, should we run?
No.
Action.
It's a grizzly.
Oh, should we run?
Okay. It's a grizzly.
Are you sure it's not Chipmunk? Action. Ah, get out of here.
It's a grizzly.
I'm out of here.
Huh. Maybe it is a chipmunk. It's a grizzly.
Are we gonna die?
I don't know. We're just gonna sit here and listen and watch.
Let's get out of here, maybe.
Fall!